Welcome to this latest edition of the Ril Dil podcast. I'm your host, Ril Joe Quinn, recording this on a Wednesday as we discuss the world of sports and pop culture. Obviously, this will be a heavy NBA podcast coming off the heels of the draft last night, round one. Of course, round two will be tonight. By the time you hear this on Thursday, the NBA draft will be all the way complete. If round two is for the basketball nerds. Like you have to be a real. I'll watch some of it, but I'm not. The second round, I'm just looking to hear see if there are some more trades. If there's another big trade coming this summer, like Kawhi Leonard or somebody like that. But before we get to the draft, we begin with the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade to Miami. Finally, Giannis is no longer a Milwaukee Buck. This trade, of course, happened at like midnight on Monday going into Tuesday, or midnight Sunday going into Monday, I believe. Yeah, midnight Sunday going into Monday. Miami finally gets their superstar after years of falling on their faces to, no Damian Lillard, no Kevin Durant, and so on. Um, they finally land their superstar, a guy who, again, two-time Finals MVP, two-time MVP, Finals MVP, a guy when he's right still is a legit top four to top five player on the planet. Um, Milwaukee, and they gave up their a number of pieces to get Giannis. Give up Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kalel Ware, Casparias Jukonis, three first-round picks, including last night's unprotected number 13 pick, um, number 13 pick, and a couple of pick swaps in the first and third round, second rounds in 2030 and 2033. Boston Celtics offered Jalen Brown and two first round picks, but were not willing to get off any of their other young talent that helped them overachieve this year. We will get to the Boston piece of this in a few. What's with Miami? Listen, you have been mired in mediocrity basically since the 2023 finals. And even during that year, if you remember, they were the AFC that overachieved. Really, Miami has had two runs um, this decade. You look at the 2020 bubble, they came out of nowhere to get to the finals, lost to the Lakers. 21, they get swept in the first round. Uh, 22, they played well. 22, 22, they took Boston to seven. Lost game seven, lost game seven, lost game seven at home, and then of course returned the favorite to Boston in 2023. But Miami, there hasn't been really any steady, consistent like since that 2023 team. They've been bad, um, to say the least. They've been horrible in the playoffs. Even when they've gotten through the play in to get their first round to the playoffs, they have not been. They've just been kind of in this no man's land with an aging Jimmy Butler, and then of course they trade Jimmy Butler, and with a team that has still some nice players, but no player that would move the needle as far as helping them be get back to contending status. And this is, I mean, look, Giannis will be 32 in September. I understand that he's had injury issues the past couple of years. Hasn't been past the first round. Excuse me, hasn't not been past the second round of playoffs since 2021 when they won the championship. I get it, but to me, if in Miami, he was absolutely worth the orange was worth the squeeze. Like you had to make this move. And to me, I don't like you gave up. the pieces that you gave up. I'm sorry, they don't. They gave us some nice pieces. They didn't. They kept Bam Adebayo. They gave up their picks. Okay, gave up a couple picks, but you absolutely had to make this movie in Miami. I just don't think there was. I just think that this move just had to be made if you're the Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat, you got a guy again when he is right, and you know, he's always motivated, but a healthy, motivated Giannis puts you in the mix in the Eastern Conference. I don't think they can win the Eastern Conference, but remember, this is not a 1 to 2 year thing. This is you are hoping that this is a 3 to 5 year situation in regards to having Giannis on your team. 3 to 5 years, at least minimum 3 years. Now, Miami, of course, has a lot of work to do. Their left, of course, you have Bam, Giannis, Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, Norman Powell. Wiggins is expected to will probably resign. Norman Powell, they could lose Norman. They could easily probably will lose Norman Powell again in the Eastern Conference. That is a team that should make the playoffs. That is a excellent defensive team. But again, with Miami, what you have to realize is they're clearly not done. Um, they're going to find Miami is they are as good as any organization in terms of player development, in terms of finding guys off the scrap meat and turning them into decent to rotational players. They've done that as well as anyone in the past 3 or 4 years. They find reclamation projects and turn them into decent to good to solid players, rotational players. So I think that uh, for Miami, this absolutely was a no brainer. I hear a lot of people complaining, well, Miami is not a title contender. They're not a finished product. Like this version of the Miami team, you will not see opening night in late October. And if you're Miami, again, you have the most important piece. You have a guy who is still a superstar, and I have to give Miami the benefit of the doubt. Every time they've gotten their star, it's either produced a championship or a long playoff run. You can go back to Alonzo Mourning. Those Miami Heat teams were perennial. Obviously, we're in the playoffs every year. Got to a conference championship in '97. And got and just they came up in the wrong era, the Michael Jordan era, and they were not going to get past the Bulls. Shaquille O'Neal, they get Shaq. They win a championship. Go to a conference. Go to back-to-back years of conference finals. To go to two straight conference finals and win a championship in '06. You get Jimmy Butler. You go to two NBA finals. And of course, LeBron James and Chris Bosh. That speaks for itself. It was that is 4 straight finals appearances, 2 championships. Every time they have gotten their star free agent player, they've been able to surround those players and have success that more than validate those moves. So you got to give them the benefit of the doubt from that standpoint. Now, to me, I I think despite the fact that I think obviously Giannis is a far superior player, even an older version of Giannis than what Jimmy Butler is or was in 2020. I think this is more challenging. This is their most challenging situation, considering that the Eastern Conference is no longer a like JV conference. The Eastern Conference is loaded. The Eastern Conference is only getting better. The Knicks are not going anywhere. Indiana's going to be bad. Cleveland's still going to have a good team, not a championship caliber team, but still a very good team. Um, Charlotte's coming. Atlanta's coming. Like the Eastern Conference is not just a walk in the park anymore. It's not. The Wizards, and it's not saying much, will be improved. They'll be improved and relevant. Um, and who knows where Orlando, and there's still Detroit, you still have Detroit, and Detroit's going to add to their team somehow in free agency or through a trade. And Orlando, you know, still will be very good. I don't think Orlando is competing for a Eastern Conference championship, but they're still a playoff caliber team. So the East, this is going to be the toughest challenge in the Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra era, in the Pat Riley era, to turn this team into a championship caliber team. Uh, but you have the most important piece. You have still a top flight organization. You have still one of the best 2 to 5 coaches in the world in their exposure. And a motivated Giannis is a dangerous Giannis. A angry Giannis with a chip on the shoulder Giannis to me will be a guy that if you're telling me, I would not be surprised if Giannis is top 3 in the MVP voting next year. I would not be surprise me whatsoever at all. Now, as far as the Milwaukee Bucks, look, you got four, you got 3 first round picks. Okay. Have 31 and 33 unprotected picks and 31 and 33. Those should turn out to be great picks when Giannis is in the latter part of his career. Last night you got that number 13 pick, you had a 10th pick, you had the number 10 pick. You have to obviously Milwaukee has to hit those picks, either the 10th or the 13th or the 13th pick. You get Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, Keller Ware, very good players. Hero is a borderline all star. Um, Listen, I don't think it was a bad haul of assets that you got from Miami. But the problem with it is the deal could have and should have been made was made a year too late. If you make this deal in 2025, you're getting not only quality rotational players in return, you're probably getting anywhere from you probably could have got 4 first round picks. There were better deals out there to be made. The mistake Milwaukee made was allowing giving you can't give the player everything. You can't do it. You cannot give the player everything. Giannis put them in a position where I mean, it was Miami or Boston. I'm not going to the Western Conference. I'm not going to the Western Conference. It's going to be Miami or Boston. Well, shit, that's fucking 99% of the league. That's basically 99. That's it. Like, I'm only going to go to these 2 places and no Western Conference. What are the options? All the best trade deals, all the best deals were in the Western Conference, whether it been OKC, whether it been Houston. Um, I mean, even New Orleans could have put together a package. I mean, by far all the deals, all the best deals for Giannis were in the Western Conference. You cannot allow, and this is what insecure organizations do. Top organizations don't do this. You cannot allow a player to put you in a position where you don't make the best possible deal, and you basically give the player everything. They gave Giannis everything they wanted. Giannis wanted to go to Miami. Period. Point blank. He wanted to go to Miami. You can't give the player everything. You have to make the best deal for the organization. You have to. And that was a mistake for Milwaukee. Milwaukee, again, this should have been done a year ago. Now, if you're Milwaukee, it's all not doom and gloom because you can flip Tyler Hero into multiple first round picks. Tyler Hero is a above average shot creator who can get his own offense, who can shoot from the 3 point range, 3 point line, who is a relatively efficient volume scorer, and who's played in a number of big games. He's been played in the finals in 2020, played in the finals in 2023. He has played in a number of playoff games over the course of his career. He's to me, a valuable asset. I know he's not a great defender, but he gets buckets, and again, he can create offense for himself and other people. So I think if you're Milwaukee, let Tyler cook the first part of the season, and then possibly make a move for him, or deal him now, or he may never see a Miami uniform, excuse me, a Milwaukee uniform. But you can get multiple first round picks. You can get a couple first round picks for Tyler Hero, at least one. As you know, Milwaukee tries to accumulate as many assets as possible, especially first round picks, because of all they between the Drew Holiday and Dame Lillard and all these other trades that they made, just you know they basically wasn't going to have a first round pick until before this trade until next decade. But I again, the biggest mistake is Milwaukee made is allowing Giannis, making Giannis bigger than the organization. Like I did, like I remember again. I remember Jerry Buss back in 2004. I'm not. I'm not paying Shaquille. I'm not. I'm not paying you, Shaq. I'm not paying you to considering that you're at the latter part of your career. And I have a 25, 24, 25-year-old Kobe Bryant. Made a business decision, turned out to be the right decision. They went on to win multiple championships. And he didn't, again, you're not bigger than the organization. You can't be, again, I know NBA is a players' league. I get it. Superstars matter more in the NBA than probably any other league from that standpoint of importance to win. I mean, obviously equal to, like, say, quarterbacks in the NFL, but the NBA, I understand that the NBA is a players' league, and players can dictate where they go and where they don't go. But Milwaukee played this thing, as bad as you can possibly play it the last couple of years. Giannis last year does not have the leverage, would not have near the amount of leverage that he had this year. This year he had the leverage of saying, I only have 1 year on my contract, and if you trade for me, I won't sign with you. Last year would have had 2 years left on his contract. And Giannis is not the type that's going to go in with a fat suit, and he's not the type that's going to go in and not play hard. So you could have Milwaukee could have actually used his competitiveness and his mindset towards the game, his character could have used that against him and saying, "Hey, we're going to trade you to we're going to make the best possible deal. Um, we'll work with you somewhat, but we're going to make the best possible deal for our organization. Period. Period. Point blank." Now getting to the Boston piece. So Boston was, like I said, was willing to give up Jalen Brown 2 first round picks. Um, a lot of people were 50-50 on this move. I heard I heard people that thought that, hey, you gotta go, you gotta get Giannis. It's an upgrade. I heard people say, hey, Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum have won a championship, have won a lot of playoff games, been enormously successful. Brown's younger than Giannis. Giannis is starting to break down. Maybe you want to hold off on this and see what you can do. See where not so much keep Jalen Brown, but also possibly get a better deal. Get a better deal involving Jalen Brown. So I've heard both sides of it. I don't have a problem with Boston not giving up half their roster to get Giannis and all their assets, what have you, because Boston, unlike Miami, Milwaukee, was not in a position of desperation. Boston has numerous assets. They still have three future first round draft picks. They still have some young talent on their roster. They still have they still have a number of trade exceptions, including a $27 million trade exception for the Anthony Simons trade. They have their mid level exception for $14 million. They have another buy kind veterans exception for like $5 million. Boston has a number of ways they can improve their basketball team. Period. Point blank. And I understand, people saying that, well, they have to trade down Jalen Brown now. There's no point of no return. The relationship is completely damaged. I couldn't disagree with that more. They don't have to trade Jalen Brown because they have, he still have him multiple years. He still has multiple years left on his contract. There are ways that they can improve. Like I said, there are a number of ways they can still improve the team around Jalen Brown and Tatum. Jalen Brown has given the type of energy that, yes, he enjoyed being the man this year. Tatum was out. He's top six in the MVP, finished second team All NBA. Case for first team All NBA. He's legit top 10 player this year. But Jalen Brown has not said, I want out of Boston. Okay. Jalen Brown been in this league over a decade now. He understands how business works. Jalen Brown's not going to go out there and destroy the Boston Celtic locker room. He's not going to pull a TO. Like he's not going to go out there and become toxic, malcontent, and just flush the season down the drain with his behavior or his desire to make it all about himself. I don't think Jalen Brown is that type of dude, that type of player, that type of kid has that type of character. Yes, he's been doing some talking during the course of the season. He's got on his Twitch. I understand he's done some stuff that have you scratch your head. I get it, but you know, if Jalen Brown really wanted out of Boston, I feel like he would have like it would have been that he would he goes to Brad Stevens and say, "Hey, trade me." I really feel like it would have been that simple if he really wants out of Boston. I don't buy. Again, you don't trade Jalen Brown just for the sake of trading Jalen Brown. If you're trading Jalen Brown, you're the Boston Celtics. You're trading him strictly for the reason that you feel like you trading him can improve your basketball team. I'm not trading Jalen Brown just for the sake of trading him. He's too good of a player. He's too valuable of an asset as far as a two-way player. And again, you don't have to trade him. You don't have to trade him. So I'm leaning on the Boston Celtic culture. I'm leaning on the fact that Jalen Brown still, I believe, wants to play in Boston. Like players, listen, players. I've seen players who have said that I want my own team. I wanted it, like I saw that with Tracy McGrady back in the day, and he left Toronto as a free agent and got his own team. Like players will let you know if that's the case. A player will let you will, especially in this time and climate, with this day and climate, with players demanding trade. Like it would not be hard for Jalen Williams to put it out there that he did not want to be a Boston Celtic. And again, the Celtics are not the type of organization that's going to allow a player to dictate to make it to dictate to them when they trade him and who they trade him to. That's not what the Celtics will under Brad Stevens and their ownership and their current situation. They will never be in a situation like Milwaukee was Giannis this year. Like, they're just too good. They're too smart and forward thinking of an organization to allow that to happen. It would be an impossibility for the Celtics to let it get to that point to allow that. Now, with all that being said, Jalen Brown absolutely can be traded, but if he does get traded, it will be because the Celtics believe that we could not stand pat, and this makes us a better basketball team. Point blank. There's some deals out there for Jalen Brown that would be intriguing. Like you can talk to New Orleans. Uh, you can talk to Minnesota, Jay McDaniels, Rudy Gobert. There's some deals out there that could be made for Jalen Brown. But again, the Celtics have a lot of options. A lot of getting back to my original point. They have a lot of ways they can improve the basketball team. They're not in the second apron. They have all that. They have a lot of assets for a team to have legitimately probably two of the top 10 to 15 players. A healthy Tatum, and we know Tatum is a top five player when he's healthy, a top 10, at worst a top 10 player. So the Celtics are in excellent shape. We're gonna get to the NBA draft. No huge surprises out the NBA draft. The first four went probably kind of as expected. Um, then you had a number of guards going. You had not that you had a number of guards going consecutively. You had a situation when I look at this draft. I generally believe that this is going to be that we're going to be looking at this draft the way we looked at the '96 draft, the 2003 draft, the '84 draft. I believe that this is a generational draft. I believe that I think that um, when I look at the first four players taken, um, I think all those guys eh, were basically perfect fits to their respective rosters. Now, the Wizards and the Bulls have you know been the Wizards and Bulls, um, but the players they got were absolute stud players that they got with those particular picks. When you look at the guards, when you look at picks 5 through 8, Keaton Wagler, Michael Brown Jr., Darius Acuff Jr., Kingston Flemings, those guards are going to be compared to each other forever. They're always going to be linked. They're going to be compared to each other. Which one, it'll be interesting to see which one is the best. Turns out to have a successful career. Um, a lot of Nets fans were annoyed. Were taking that they didn't take Michael Brown. That he took Michael Brown over Darius Acuff Jr. Now, Michael Brown's 6'5", Acuff Jr. is 6'2", so that certainly had a factor in it. But the thing those guys at the top have absolute all of them will have a chip on their shoulder. The Bonster to me was a absolute no brainer. Washington had to take him. You can't. I've been saying this for months. You cannot in this particular draft. You couldn't miss at number one. You couldn't. I know Peterson had a great. The one workout that he did have was considered to be a great workout. Um, he seemed to want to go to Utah. Was very gracious last night with his parents and his family. He, but again, he has a chip on his shoulder. Said thinks he believes that he should have been a number one pick. Cam Boozer's going to believe that he should have been the number one pick. Caleb Wilson believes that he should have been the number one pick. So all these guys are going to have chips on their shoulders, all of them. And this draft, I think the thing about this draft as well is I look at the stability at the top. You had the first 10 picks, both two-parent homes. First 10 picks, two-parent homes. That's stability. That's these guys. That's character. These guys were high character guys when they got up there in front of their families, in front of their fathers in particular, black fathers. I think that those type of things, those type of intangibles, you cannot dismiss when it comes to long term success in the NBA. So I really believe that this is going to be a draft that we're going to be talking about this draft for years and decades to come. I really believe that's going to be this. There are going to be a number of big time players to come out this draft. Oklahoma City getting Mara from Michigan. Just I mean, the rich get richer. Like that is a guy. You get a 7'3" guy who can stretch the floor, protect the rim, and on top of it, just to add injury, insult to injury, or just to just is also can pass. So he is the perfect and is a champion. And is a champion on top of it. Seven. He's a perfect Thunder player. Perfect Thunder player. Now the question is, if you're Oklahoma City, you now have four bigs. I mean, you have Chet, Hardenstein, and Jalen Williams coming off the bench. Now, I believe they'll probably move Jalen Williams. I think they're gonna re-sign Hardenstein um, because of the work he did against Wembanyama, and you'll have a three, three-headed monster at the. You'll have you'll go three deep with the bigs with Chet Hartenstein and Mara. I don't think you need four bigs. I think that especially, and again, I know especially with some of the money issues that they had with this with the eight, with the second being the second apron. I know they saved money. They saved like $61 million in luxury tax money with the Wiggins trade. With the Wiggins trade for the picks, they picked up a guard, moved up and got the 17th pick flipped it, got the seven, got the traded up, traded some second round picks to get a guard that they wanted that can give them some shot creation and also can make threes. So Oklahoma City is doing just does what Oklahoma City does, but they absolutely nailed that pick, getting that dude from Michigan. Big night for Michigan. Three lottery picks. They get three lottery picks in the first round. So I mean, overall, again, this draft, there are going to be some guys in this draft, and that were drafted outside the lottery in the 20s that are going to be some very good players as well. This is a deep, deep draft, like incredibly deep draft. So the Austin Reeves signs will is expected, and it won't be official until July 6th when all these deals in terms of free agency, free agent, July 6th will be all these contracts will be official. But Austin Reeves expected to re-sign with the Lakers 4 years, $185 million. Was an absolute priority for the Lakers to sign him. Um, now a couple things about his deal to take note of. He didn't get the fifth year, did not get the full max 5 years, 241. They gave him 4 years, 185, still making, a boatload of money. It wasn't necessarily it's somewhat team friendly, but still getting like $46 million. Yeah, he's still making, on average about $46 million a year. Um, listen, th- if you don't believe that it was Luca's team beforehand, Luca wanted Austin Reeves. When Luca says he wanted Austin Reeves, this was going to be like it was going. It was basically set in stone. And now the Lakers and LeBron James will have some decisions to make. LeBron James cannot sign with the Lakers at $50 million. It's not physically possible, financially, fiscally possible. So the question is, to me, really, how bad does LeBron James still want to be in LA? He would have to take a significant pay cut to stay in LA. Significant pay cut. The good thing about Reeves' contract, it won't affect the Lakers' mid-level exception. Um, but LeBron cannot sign for can he's not gonna get the max contract with the Lakers. Period. So if you're the Lakers, do you go sign and trade with LeBron? Do you try to say, hey, LeBron, if you know, we can go out there if take any team friendly deal, we could possibly go out there and uh go after Mitchell Robinson or maybe even Hardenstein to add to the team. I don't know what LeBron is going. I think LeBron knows what he has already decided on what he's going to do. I don't think that. I think that there was always a plan in place. You don't just come out and decide just out of the blue, have no idea without putting a lot of thought. Especially somebody as calculated as LeBron. I think he already knows what he was going to do if the Lakers did not offer him a um a max deal. Uh, I think is my opinion would be 50 50-50 on whether he returns or not is a Los Angeles Laker next year. Um, to me, again, I would use the money that you would have spent on LeBron and go out there and add to my team. To be perfectly honest with you, I just I would go add to my I would just go add to my team. Um, I've heard signing trade possibly. Maybe a sign trade for Jared Allen. Okay, it sounds good. I'm not all the way convinced that LeBron James, that Cleveland and LeBron James would have it has any desire to go back to Cleveland. He's left Cleveland twice, and I know it's been for different reasons. And I understand the first time, team just wasn't good enough around him. Uh, But that's the second time things kind of came apart as well as far as the quality of the team. Uh, does he really can you picture LeBron James in the Cleveland Cavaliers uniform next year? Does he really want to? Everybody assumes that's the storybook ending, and that's full circle. I don't know if LeBron like is that sentimental like that. I mean, he's been on four teams over the course of his career. He's been a shrewd businessman. The Miami thing, people didn't see that coming. Stephen A has some insight on it, but for the most part, people did not see him going to Miami. People did not see that coming. So him going to Cleveland again. If he goes to Cleveland, he's going to have to take a significant pay cut to go back to Cleveland. He's not like Cleveland is not. They're not Cleveland. I would highly doubt that Cleveland moves heaven and earth. to, for LeBron James, and to also on top of it pay LeBron James $50 million. Give LeBron James a 1 year max contract. Like the Lakers, Cleveland's probably going to ask him to take a significant pay cut. They have some big salaries out there as well that they have. They have, I mean, they have two max players out on their roster, and Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. So again, I I can't say what's more than like what is likely to happen. I frankly don't. I frankly don't know. Um, if there's a, I don't think there's a surprise team. I don't buy into the Golden State. I just don't see that happening. I guess I would lean towards LA. I would lean towards LA. As far as the World Cup, you can, if you are FIFA, you cannot ask for a more successful World Cup. The ratings have been just out of this world. You have all the major players that are still alive. A couple teams, Germany, Argentina, USA have all advanced to the round of 32. Again, the power, like the teams like Spain, Brazil, those teams are will probably advance as well. Portugal. So this has been a star-studded World Cup as far as Messi and Mbappe scoring goals. You had some Cinderella stories with Ghana, what they've done. The African countries have been phenomenal, have played well, even in defeat. It has been, like I said, this is on pace to be one of probably maybe one of the greatest World Cups ever as far as popularity and as far as what may transpire if you get all these collection of star power and traditional powerhouse teams um, staying alive for the duration of the tournament. I've been to a couple of bars with watch parties. They've been phenomenal. DC has had a number of watch parties just all around the Metro DC area, Maryland area as well. It is, right now with basketball being done, professional basketball being done, it is the World Cups. The World Cup has the sports world, at its, it's it has the sports world on lock basically. So like I said, you can't ask for a better World Cup leading up to this point, and certainly it looks like that it will only get better as we move along, get deeper into the tournament. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. I will see you next time. Have a great rest of your week and evening. So long.